No matter how many times I've come to this event, it never ceases to amaze me. With the sheer size of this show and knowing that our fellow collectors have over 20,000 square feet of room to browse, shop, and interact with fellow collectors, the old saying rings true. Time certainly flies when you're having fun. In any case, I'm back at the P&E Forum in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, where I'll go through row upon row of action figure greatness, the usual comic selection overload, and pure adrenaline madness of collectible deep dive hunting. Let the show begin. This video is brought to you by Canadian Comics, the host of this Vancouver comic and toy show event. Visit CanadianComics.net for all information about this collector's show, as well as information about their business in buying and selling comic runs and key issues dating all the way back to the Golden Age. The link is in the description below. I have filmed my exploits at this show a few times in the past, so by now there will be a playlist set up that I will link to this video if you are among those who happen to enjoy these types of toy hunts and would like to see more. I've also given the past history of this show in some of these prior videos, so if you are interested in seeing how it started and evolved, definitely look back into the playlist I mentioned to see how we as a community were able to grow this into a colossal sized tri-annual event. But for now, let's do some hunting. As per usual, the artist and writer alley is set up at the back of the forum near the concession area. It is always nice to see events like these feature content creators and allow fans of their work to walk up and meet them. Once again, the floor space consists of 220 tables to browse, and I'll note that many vendors and collectors will make the effort to travel to this area of central Vancouver just to take part in this event. So whether they're immediately local or driving from a few hours away in the valley or provincial interior region, or perhaps taking the ferry over from Vancouver Island, or maybe even making the trek from the northern tip of Washington State across the US border, we're all here to spread and share the collector environment and enjoyment. I've got my usual booth over here that me and my friends set up before the show. I'll admit that as fun as this all is, it does take a bit of an effort to set all of this up, then make time to circle the floors to film all of what I'm showing you here. But as I like to call it, a labor of love is the best kind of love. I'm back to back once again with the good folks at ages 3 and up, as well as side by side with our friends at Cherry Bomb Toys, both stores of which always put on a great setup when coming to this show. Here's a few comic booths, many of whom have key issues and graded issues for collector enthusiasts to mull over where to spend their hard-earned money. We've also got the good folks over at Jiggly Pig Comics, who were among the vendors that ferried over from Vancouver Island, along with tons and tons of rows of artistry paper goodness to browse amongst. And while I barely consider myself a video game guy these days, I would be remiss if I didn't at least point out the selection that we have sprinkled throughout the forum here, as there is certainly no shortage in terms of selection for old school and new school video gamers. The show has everything from horror-themed collector product to vintage toy selections spanning several decades to many rare and iconic finds, and of course, cosplay is most certainly encouraged. Toy Traders has their usual amazing and far-reaching setup, and my good friends at Krypton Toys have put in an appearance here as well. I also had the pleasure of meeting with Ryan Dole, a fellow Vancouverite and social media personality who hosts the Toy Anxiety podcast as part of the Yes Have Some YouTube channel. Like I always say, it's fun meeting like-minded folks. Now, a quick disclaimer, it does take a bit of effort to, well, load my vehicle, to set up a booth, also looking after the booth with my friends, then browsing and shopping for my own collection, as well as catching up with folks that I haven't seen in a while, all while shooting some videography and filmography for the purposes of making this video. All that considering that it was a pretty warm day here in the midst of summer in Vancouver. I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you did vend or attend this show and I didn't get a chance to catch a photograph of your booth or spend time sharing collecting stories with you, don't feel left out. Just trust that I did the best I could with the limited time that I had. And of course, what would a toy show be without a handful of great finds? Let's look at some of the vintage stuff that I picked out, starting with this Generation 2 Transformers Jazz from Cherry Bomb Toys, a figure that I actually remember seeing on store pegs in the early 1990s and something that I've spent quite a bit of time trying to chase down. I also picked up this vintage A-Team Mr. T figure from Galoob that has most of his accessories. I also, as part of my modern finds, managed to grab some Star Wars Bad Batch series figures from my buddy Mark, who helped me man the booth on this day, along with this Darth Nihilus figure from ages 3 and up, a character who was a prominent Sith Lord in the Knights of the Old Republic video game series. I also grabbed some of these amazing and aesthetically pleasing Mythic Legions figures that will look great on my shelf at home. As well, my buddy Peter brought me this Stan Solo custom Slave Leia in the vintage style to the show, and my buddy Rick from Van City Shields brought by this specialized acrylic case for me to house one of the precious carded figures in my collection. I'll also note that I did stop by my friend John's house on the way home from the show and picked up this vintage Knight Rider and kit vehicle, which I'm loosely counting as part of my show haul since I hadn't yet unloaded my car from the toy show shenanigans when I picked it up several minutes down the road from the P&E forum. All of that is to say that I hope I was able to capture the fun that was had by myself and hopefully by all who attended this event as well. And for those who were just enjoying this show from a distance via this video upload, I hope I was able to do justice to the exciting environment that I was surrounded by on this day. So before we sign off, I just want to give a thanks to my Patreon supporters and channel members whose names can be found in the description section of this video. Visit patreon.com/toyconnections if you'd like to become a patron yourself, or click the join button next to my channel name if you'd like to support the channel in this manner. Thanks again to all those who attended, vended, or had a chance in organizing this show. And if you enjoyed this video, please click on some of my other content here. Subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, press that like button to spread this video to more viewers, and share it with your friends. Otherwise, I'll see you again in the next toy hunting adventure. Take care.